Hello, friends. Today we are starting a new segment. It's called Wait What Theology. So have you ever read through the Bible and then it made you stop and go, wait, what? The Bible does that sometimes because there's some amazing things happening. This series is a series where I'm going to go through those things that make you pause and make you think about what the Bible is trying to tell you and just examine them. So today we're talking about creation. Now, creation isn't necessarily a wait what situation. Creation is one of the 4 essential questions that people ask. You know, in any religion, the questions that they need to answer is questions of origin, meaning, morality, and destiny. And here, in the first chapter of the Bible, we have the origin. The origin is answered. You know, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. But you might wonder, in what way is this a wait what situation? You know, there's nothing confusing about that. God created the heavens and the earth. That's all there is we need to know about it. I remember when I was in high school, I had this conversation with this friend. And he came from an atheistic background. But he wasn't hostile towards Christianity. He was a really nice guy. And I said, you know, the scientists would just push things back. The universe just was formed over a very long time, and then they'll push it back to the Big Bang, and then before that they'll push it back, and they keep on pushing it back to the point where there was no creation at all. But there needed to be some sort of creation at some point. And he says, yeah, you know, I understand that we keep pushing it back, but it's also weird to think that it was just created. That God just said, boom, you know, created it. So when it comes to this wait what scenario, you know, it is weird to think either situation, because nobody in this world has ever seen a universe created. We've never seen it before. So when it comes to this origin, when it comes to this idea of where we came from, it's always kind of strange. I don't think there's another chapter in the Bible that makes people's blood boil more than this chapter. Because there's many different interpretations as to exactly how God created the heavens and the earth. The order and the time. You know, there's different theories about was there a gap in between the first verse and the second verse? Did God create the heavens and the earth and then there was 100 million years? Or did God create the heavens and the earth on the first day that he created the light? And then there's other issues. You know, many people think that God used evolution to create people, and that God used, you know, natural processes to create the universe and the earth, and they point to how long it would have taken to create an earth, as if you know how to create an earth. You know, there's different theories as to how the solar system formed, how the moon formed. People today look at what science is telling us about the Big Bang and dark energy and dark matter, things that there's really not any proof for, but seem logical. What I think is interesting about this is that there is very little that science can tell us. Did you know that science cannot tell us why human beings yawn? We have all the technological advances that we have in this world, and all of the knowledge of people saying that they know how God might have created something out of nothing. And yet we don't know why people yawn. We don't know why people get migraines. We don't know how lightning works. I was listening to a podcast not too long ago, and they had this scientist explain that with all that we know about lightning, with all that we know about the clouds and everything, it still doesn't make sense to us. How a bolt so powerful can come from the clouds? When they do all the math, they still can't figure it out. Science cannot tell us little things about things that we can observe every day. Science cannot tell us the smallest information about things that we see every day, and yet we presume to know exactly how God would take nothingness and create it. So when I look at this chapter, I see it saying that God created the heavens and the earth, and then he did all of the subsequent creating. He created bionic life. He created plants and animals. He created an ecosystem. He created an atmosphere. He created air. He divided the light from the darkness. As if to say, he created physics. Everything we know and understand is just things that we observe. But that's not the way that it had to be. There is so little that we can know, and yet people presume to tell us exactly how God did it. And they will tell you that you are wrong for believing that a God did it in the beginning. And here's another thing. There is no other logical theory of how emptiness and nothingness can create something. There had to have been a beginning. You know, in the New Testament it says that our creation tells us that there is a God. Just by looking at the world cries out and says, I was created. You know it. And if you deny it, then you're essentially denying God in the most fundamental way. But not only that, you're denying God in a way that you must. Because if you really look at it and you say that God created the world, then you have to believe some things about him. You have to believe that he has a moral order, that he knows what's best for you, that he sees you. So accepting these first verses is essential. However, I don't presume to know how God did it either. And so when you hear people that are more liberal in their theology can say, well, I believe that God did it this way. And that is fine. I don't believe that. I believe in the Bible. I believe that a God that can walk on water, that can heal a blind man, that can speak through the mouth of a donkey, you know, a God that can take fish and multiply them, a God that can raise the dead, raise himself from the dead. The God that created the world can do it in any way that he wanted. He can do anything. And that's the kind of God I believe in. But I don't know how he did it. And I don't know that it's a good idea to debate people over how he did it, especially if they're fellow believers. And the real difficulty is when it comes into explaining it to the outside world. They would say we were losing ground because we are denying the scientific community. And the more conservative Christian, theologically conservative, would say you're taking away from what the Bible seems to be saying. But one thing you can hang your hat on, one thing you can know for sure, is that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth.